You probably think you understand what happens when a planet stops spinning. You've seen the memes. Everything flies east. But here's what nobody explains. The Earth doesn't just spin, it bulges. And when that bulge disappears in 1 second, the real disaster isn't wind, it's the ocean rearranging itself. Feel the ground beneath your feet right now, still, solid, dependable. It has never once let you down. What you don't feel is that the ground beneath you is moving at over 1,000 miles per hour. Right now. While you sit there completely unaware, the Earth has been spinning at this speed for 4.5 billion years without stopping, not once, not even for a fraction of a second. And the reason that matters is not what you think. Most people assume the danger is momentum, that if the Earth stopped, you'd be flung off the surface like a stone leaving a slingshot. And yes, that's real. At the equator, your body is moving eastward at roughly 1,040 miles per hour. If the ground beneath you stopped and you didn't, you'd continue moving at that speed instantly. You'd be launched horizontally across the surface with no warning, no ramp up, no time to react. Every building, every car, every tree would do the same thing simultaneously. Civilization would become a debris field moving at supersonic speed inside of 3 seconds. But that's the part everyone talks about. Here's what they don't. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. It never has been. Because the Earth spins, centrifugal force pushes material outward at the equator, causing the planet to bulge slightly at its middle. The equatorial diameter of the Earth is about 27 miles wider than the polar diameter. 27 miles. That's not a rounding error. That's a mountain range's worth of extra planet sitting at the equator purely because of spin. Now, remove that spin. In 1 second, the bulge doesn't disappear slowly. The bulge doesn't negotiate. Physics doesn't ask permission. The planet would begin redistributing that mass almost immediately toward the poles. The solid rock beneath your feet would shift. Mega earthquakes, not the 8.0 kind, not the 9.0 kind, would tear across every continent simultaneously as the crust adjusted to a suddenly spherical planet beneath it. Every fault line on Earth active at once. Every plate boundary rupturing together. The ground wouldn't shake. It would rewrite itself. But the rock is slow. The ocean is not. The oceans sit on top of that same spinning bulge. Right now, the sea level at the equator is roughly 8 miles higher than it is at the poles. 8 miles. Not because of tides. Not because of currents. Because of spin. The same centrifugal force that makes the planet bulge also holds the water outward at the equator. Stop the spin. The water doesn't stop with it. Within hours, the oceans would begin a catastrophic migration. 2 enormous bodies of water, one from the Pacific, one redistributing across the Atlantic, would surge toward the poles. Mega tsunamis, not the kind that hit coastlines and recede, the kind that don't recede. Waves potentially miles high moving at the speed of a jet aircraft inland across every low-lying continent on Earth. Europe, Asia, North America. Everything within 1,000 miles of any ocean coastline simply gone. Not flooded, not damaged, gone. Underwater that has nowhere else to go and no reason to leave. The new ocean wouldn't cover everything. It would settle into 2 massive polar seas, and the equator, the strip of Earth that used to be underwater, would become dry land. The Sahara Desert would have a twin. Except this one used to be the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Now here's where it gets strange. The atmosphere is also spinning. It has been for the same 4.5 billion years. It doesn't care that the ground stopped. Air has no traction. Air has no brakes. At the equator, the lower atmosphere would keep moving east at over 1,000 miles per hour, while the surface beneath it sat still. That's not wind as you understand it. That's a permanent planetary-scale hurricane wrapping around the entire equatorial belt indefinitely. Sustained winds that would strip topsoil from every exposed surface. Winds that would sandblast mountains. Winds that would make the surface at the equator uninhabitable not for years, for centuries. And that's before the temperature problem. Right now, the Earth rotates once every 24 hours. That rotation is the reason you have day and night. Stop the rotation and you still have the sun. The sun still rises, except it doesn't set. One side of the Earth would bake continuously. Surface temperatures on the sun-facing side would climb past 100 degrees Celsius in some regions. The ground itself would begin to crack and dry. The atmosphere on the hot side would expand, rising, creating a permanent, low-pressure zone that would drag air from the dark side constantly toward the light. The other side would freeze, continuously. The dark hemisphere would plunge toward temperatures approaching negative 100 degrees Celsius at its deepest point. Without rotation to redistribute heat, the two hemispheres would slowly become two different planets sharing the same rock, one burning, one frozen, a thin strip of survivable twilight zone between them, slowly shrinking as both extremes deepened. But remember, this was 1 second. That's all it took. 1 second of stillness from a planet that has never once rested in 4.5 billion years. And here's the part worth sitting with. The Earth is actually slowing down, right now, not fast, not in any way you'd ever feel. But the moon's gravitational pull creates tidal friction that bleeds angular momentum away from Earth's rotation. About 1.4 milliseconds slower per century. 400 million years ago, a day on Earth was only 22 hours long. In the far future, if the sun doesn't swallow us first, the Earth will eventually become tidally locked to the moon, the way the moon is already locked to us. One face permanently toward the moon, one face permanently away. We are not a stable system hurtling forward forever. We are a slowly winding clock. So look at the ground again. The same ground you've stood on every day of your life. The same ground your parents stood on, their parents, every human who has ever lived, all of it moving at over 1,000 miles per hour right now. All of it dependent on a spin that started 4.5 billion years ago and has never, not once, paused to reconsider. The oceans are where they are because of that spin. The air breathes where it breathes because of that spin. The seasons, the tides, the length of your day, the reason anything can live here at all. All of it. Because the Earth never stopped. And you never once had to ask it not to.